Hello everybody, Taxis Man here, back with another video. It has been like a long time, I feel, since I've been able to talk about a new movie releasing here in 2024. And as always, we're going to be talking positives and negatives, talking about Wicked Part 1. This film came out here in 2024. The film is like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. It definitely feels like a 3 hour movie almost. and of course, this is being released same weekend as Gladiator 2. I am working on that review as well right now, so look forward to that. That should be dropping very, very soon, so look forward to that. It might drop very soon, or might be a couple days after this video comes out. Just depends with, Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and me working 55 hours a week. Me getting that video out might take a little longer than normal, so please just be patient with that. So, this review is going to be based on the fact that I have absolutely zero knowledge on the Broadway musical, nor the book that this film is based on. So, there's a book called Wicked, and then they turned it into a Broadway musical, and now we have part one and part two of a film adaptation of the book slash Broadway musical source material. Me going into this film, I had absolutely no expectations, and I really didn't keep up with anything in terms of, casting or any sort of like good or bad press about the film. I was just like, whatever. It's a modern day spin slash prequel to the original The Wizard of Oz, and my biggest gripe with the film before I saw it was, it's going to remove James Franco's Oz the Great and Powerful film as being canon. And it does, but it does also like acknowledge that certain parts of that film are canon, like, the wizard shows up in a balloon and he has no real power and he has to use his gifts of, being a magician to deceive the people of the Wizard of Oz into thinking that he actually is the wizard. So, yeah. The film mainly takes place before the Wizard of Oz, but it also does feature at the beginning of the movie Dorothy and, her friends, which I thought was kind of cool how it tied in with that film. I really enjoyed that aspect. Now, this is a musical. That doesn't mean everyone's breaking into song and dance constantly. However, I'm going to say most of the musical moments in this film, I just didn't connect with. They didn't hook me. There were a couple. There were a couple songs that I thought was pretty catchy. But most of it, it didn't hook me as I wanted it to. There was points in the film where I felt like people are just like screaming at the top of their vocal cords, and I'm like, I can't hear what you're saying when you're screaming into the microphone. it doesn't work for me. It's like you can go and I'm just like, is this a musical or something else? Because I've watched plenty of musicals in my lifetime. Best is obviously Sound of Music, in my opinion. And with those musicals, a musical has to be good enough for me to be able to actually hear what the people are actually singing. There's a lot of songs in this film that I'm just like, I don't know what you're saying. It felt very, I don't know, something about the audio was off. And I've seen this movie twice. Okay, I saw this movie twice before doing this review. Once with my mom and once with some friends. So, at both times, I couldn't understand the songs most of the time. And the characters and the actors playing them are fine, but I didn't feel like awe-inspired. Nothing like was an outstanding ovation. I was like, yeah, you did so awesome! You're gonna get an Academy Award, or at least you're gonna get nominated. No, I never got any of that. I never felt like, wow, your performance was amazing. Okay, there's none of that. Like, wow, you did such a great job. My biggest thing I want to also talk about, I think this is the best part of the entire film, is the blend of the practical effects and the CGI. I think they did a great job at that. It's really awesome. Like you can tell, like the monkeys, they're obviously CGI. But like there's this train towards the third act of the movie, and they actually built the train station. They built the train. They built part of the train track, and then other parts of it got blended in with CGI, like the background kind of stuff. And I think the mesh just really works and looks really well done. Like I said, it's a modern day telling of Oz, and I'm gonna dive into now two things that I really don't like. Okay, first off, I don't like how this film turned Oz and everybody that was his closest friends and allies and Consul into villains. They do this thing towards the end of the film, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to dive into a little bit of spoiler territory, so get ready. They do this thing where they turn Oz into being the villain, and he's responsible for why animals are being caged and why they're losing the ability to speak in the world of Oz. I don't like this concept. Turning good people that we've known as good, evil, and people that are evil that we've known, like the Wicked Witch of the West, into just basically a misunderstood person. Like that's the whole point of this film is that the Wicked Witch of the West, she wasn't always wicked. She wasn't born wicked. Was she became wicked because other people didn't like her, thoughts, opinions, and her ideology. And so the Wicked Witch goes from being a good person to evil because of her tragic childhood. Her father hates her and whatnot, blames her for her mother's death, you know, and because of that, the Wicked Witch is dealing with the loss of her family. Her dad dies, her sister's in a wheelchair. She's constantly not being able to have friends, and the friends that she does have constantly are clashing with her ideas, and then being lied to, and the fact that the Wizard of Oz doesn't have any actual power kind of just throws her overboard, and she goes from good to evil. Next thing I want to talk about is the fact that this is part one of two. So, part two is releasing in 2025, which means the story does not have a proper conclusion. It's not satisfying. I do hope it does. I do want to know how they plan on ending this and how they plan on tying it into the original Wizard of Oz if it does. Like I said, I've never watched the Broadway musical. I've never read the book, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how everything meshes together and concludes. I'm so sick of these redemption arcs and being like, oh, the bad guy was just misunderstood. Like I've had enough of that, and it worked really well in things like Once Upon a Time, but here it just feels very unnecessary and kind of forced. So, with it, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Peace out.